Welcome back everyone. Today is a brief update on what has been going on with the preview server. As some of you know, lots of members from the press, content creators, streamers, all that kind of stuff, we all got access to, well not all, but a lot of us got access to the internal server, the preview server if you like, or the pre-PTS server for the High Isle chapter. Now I did make a video about this yesterday explaining all the ins and outs of what to expect, but I did miss out a rather important part. So we know obviously that not everything is set in stone, and we know that anything could change prior to going on to PTS. However, champion points on that server were altered. Now we need to figure out were we nerfed or buffed. Well, it's a bit of both, actually. Our damage, quite honestly, ceiling-wise, regardless of how many rigged dummy situations there are, which doesn't necessarily apply into content, or vice versa, maybe there's some really, really bad ones that do apply in content. That doesn't give an accurate gauge, but at least we can see how far people can really push some of the stuff in the game, I guess. With that in mind, that ceiling is far too high. Floor's pretty good, ceiling's far too high, and they have addressed this. Now, whether that's going to go on to live or PTS, we don't know yet, but on the preview server, as you can see here, I'm on the live server, obviously because we're not recording off the preview server, you can see that there is a change. So, what you know here already, where you've got Fighting Finesse, which is 10%, you've got Backstab, which is 15%, and then you've got all these buffs here, which are all 10%, and so on and so forth. These are, on the preview server, different. All of these are 6%. So damage overall for each different type of damage has gone down. Just bear in mind, of course, yes, of course, these do stack, and some of these do double dip into the same skills. Then this went down to 6% as well, so crit damage flat out is a little bit lower, which is neither here nor there anyway, because let's face it, we've got enough crit damage bonuses now, especially with Major Brittle being introduced, that we can still hit cap no problem. Backstabber went down to 10, and also our resistance increases, so a reduction to damage and all that kind of stuff. This is looking at 4% already, with it being only 40% in. At max, that will give you 10%. That's changed also. All these mitigation bonuses, as far as I can see, they've considered are too high. So they've reduced those as well, all to 6%. So now you're going to have to be a little bit more aware of your survival, and your damage output is going to be more based on you rather than just free damage from here and here and here and here. You are going to have to maybe fiddle some of your builds, alter maybe some procs and bits and pieces here and there, or maybe just some flat stats to increase them overall rather than just individual damage types. Well, that is already covered as well, because these champion points here, this one in particular, which I'm not going to put up there, this one and this one down here, these are a bit crap, to be perfectly honest. Their weapon and damage, weapon and spell damage increases, yes, of course they are, but in comparison to each individual one of these, through just about every test I've ever done, this never trumped any of those in any combination. However, this has been buffed, and so has this. So this goes over 200 on the preview server rather than 160. These go down to 6%, but this has gone much, much higher. And with the emphasis on spell and weapon damage pushing actual skills, regardless of which pool they come from, depending on which other resource you stack, obviously, because one weapon and spell damage buff and one stamina or magical buff, whichever order you want to put them in, that will benefit you. These are actually starting to help out a bit more. Also, the healing side of things did go up. This went higher. Some of these bonuses went a little higher. So healing has gone up, reduction to damage has gone down, and damage output has gone down. Now, when it comes to being really, really sweaty and pushing leaderboards and all the rest of it, which is absolutely fine, we are way, way above the content anyway. There are people hitting some of the hardest content in the game in a third of the time required for a speed run. It's way too high. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing. And the reduction to damage taken kind of nerf here, this also is not a massive negative, because what you have to consider is not just PvE elements of the game, but PvP as well. There are some extremely hard-hitting builds out there with stupidly high heals and at the same time really high survival. Come on. If you're going to be really tanky, be tanky. If you're going to be really healy, be healy. If you're going to be really damagey, be damagey. If you want to combine the three, then something's got to suffer somewhere. And it's not. Quite frankly, it's not. There are some really, really, really high survival setups out there that don't have any negatives at all and still hit like a truck. This might alter that ever so slightly for both PvE and PvP, balance-wise. But at the same time, for you getting kills, rather than just hitting a dummy and showing high numbers and then turning up in a completely different outfit and saying, I got 150k DPS, which you didn't, you are now going to be rewarded for getting kills. So you've got flat weapon and spell damage increase, so a choice on these options here. There is another bonus in here which I've forgotten about, but we'll come back to that another time. On the off-balance build and on the Nature's Bounty build in the past, I've recommended that you get this here, Occult Overlord, because those builds are designed to kill multiple things very, very fast and take advantage of AoE situations. Well, this on its own, at the moment it says 2200. That can actually go to 4400, and with other buffs and bonuses, that can actually go to about 4.8. On average, though, most players will get 4k out of this. However, flat out, with no gear, no bonuses, no extra buffs, no nothing, that on the preview server is currently sitting at 12.8. That's fucking insane. 12.8k Oblivion damage in area of effect for every single kill you get. That means basically with the off-balance build, yeah, there'll be a link for that in the description, this will basically wipe out rooms. So when you're trying to get your speed runs and everything and you're thinking, oh no, I don't have enough damage for the boss because I'm suffering by like 3k DPS, oh no. Well, the longest time spent in any trial, dungeon or arena is actually killing the trash. This, blowing up rooms, is going to make that much, much faster. It's already nice, but 12.8k is insane. And since that can be buffed with flat bonuses, obviously with Minor Slayer and Major Slayer and all that kind of stuff, even Major Berserk, this is going to be able to hit incredibly hard if that comes through. So the red tree and the green tree won't really change that much at all, if any, but the blue tree was altered. Higher healing, less resistances, and less damage from these particular nodes and bonuses. It doesn't mean that damage overall was completely reduced, because technically, again, you could stack into this stuff, or you can get more from your kills, but it does mean that it's been balanced differently. Damage down a little bit overall, resistance down a little bit overall, healing up a little bit overall, making healers somewhat more relevant for those of you that were stupid enough to assume that they're not relevant, because they are. I know, you can go 3 DPS in a tank, but not everybody can. Well, this makes them a little bit more useful, because now they're going to have to heal people more because they don't have this resistance. Also, what you have to consider is some content you can basically negate damage as a DPS just by slotting 1 or 2 of these. They were a little bit more powerful than they first anticipated. Anyway, I'm waffling. This is not set in stone, but this is what has been happening on the preview server, and I will be very interested to see where they go with this when the PTS goes live on Monday. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hugely appreciate the support. If you are not subscribing on YouTube, of course, do hit that button. It is free. Furthermore, if you want to help support outside the channel, there are some links in the info section for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, the website xynodegaming.com, where all the written guides are. And of course, you can even check out the new sets there as well, because there is a guide on that. Remember, disclaimers, anything could change. Once again, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.